While I focus on living simply, avoiding clutter and being intentional with what I own, I have found that some small purchases actually make life easier and less stressful. And surprisingly, many of them cost less than 20 bucks. So in today's video, I'm sharing 15 inexpensive things that have been completely worth it. The first one is cheap wired earphones. Even though I love good sound quality and all these noise cancelling features, I still use these old wired earphones all the time because they have just saved me more times than I can count. There's nothing worse than your Bluetooth earbuds dying during a call or suddenly disconnecting right before a very important meeting. This has happened to me a few times and it's so frustrating. So these wired earphones, they just work. There's no pairing issues, no low battery warning. You just plug them in and you're good to go. And also, I have to say that I don't really care if these break or if I lose them or something. They're so cheap. I think I even got this with my old phone for free. I'm not sure if newer phones or newer devices still have the 3.5mm jack, so where you can plug this, but all my devices have, so I'm still good. The second one is sticky notes for quick ideas. When I get a great idea during a meeting or while watching something, for example a presentation, I don't always want to switch screens to type my thoughts in Notion or someplace else, or not even search for my phone and type them there. I just want to keep listening. And as we all know, trying to hold onto those great ideas, great thoughts until the conversation or presentation ends is super hard. So that's why I keep this repurposed old glass jar on my desk. It's full of these sticky notes or paper slips and then also a pen. Whenever something comes to my mind, I grab a note, write it down and get back to what I was doing. It's, I think, faster than unlocking my phone and opening an app and typing it there. But more importantly, it keeps all the distractions to a minimum. There's no notifications, no temptation to check any messages. It's just a quick note and the idea is saved. It's a really simple and cheap system, but it helps me to stay focused. The third one is a backup wallet when traveling. Losing your wallet during a trip is a big nightmare probably for all of us. You are in an unfamiliar place, maybe you don't even speak the language, and suddenly you have no cash, no cards, and no idea what to do next. That's why I always try to carry a backup wallet with me that holds a little bit of extra cash, some coins. If my main wallet gets lost or stolen, I still have access to some money so I can buy, for example, food or a taxi or reach an embassy. In places where pickpocketing is common, this can really be a lifesaver. And it can also work as a fake wallet in worst case scenarios. Luckily, I have never been in one of those. So if someone demands my wallet, I can just hand over the backup or fake wallet. And that way I will not lose absolutely everything. The fourth one is a belt that always fits. I think we have all been in a situation where your belt just doesn't fit quite right. One hole is too tight, the next one is too loose, and you spend the entire day adjusting, wishing that you could just make it a little bit looser or a little bit tighter. And after this struggle, I bought this no-hole belt a few years ago, and I have to say that it changed my life. Instead of being limited to preset holes, you can adjust it to the exact fit you need every time. So whether I gain or lose a little weight, it adapts without me having to think about it. The fifth one is free knowledge pass, so a library card. It's one of those things that feels almost too good to be true as a minimalist, because it gives you access to more books, audiobooks and resources than you could ever get through without actually needing to own anything. So here it only costs a couple of euros if you lose the card, but otherwise it is completely free. Instead of spending money on books or deciding what's worth buying, you can always just borrow them. And often libraries go even beyond books these days. When we have board game nights, we don't buy the games, we borrow them. Our local library even lends out tools, sports equipment, instruments and outdoor gear. The other day I saw they had snowshoes, which felt like the most Nordic thing ever. 6. A travel toothbrush. This is so great if you usually have an electric one like me, because traveling with that can be really a hassle. If the battery dies mid-trip and you don't bring the charger, it's not really a fun experience. And then on the other hand, bringing the charger takes up space from your backpack or from your luggage and is just another thing to remember to pack when you leave the hotel or Airbnb or whatever it is. Of course, once I forgot that there, so at home I had to buy a new charger, which ended up costing much more than I actually expected. It was almost the same price as the whole toothbrush. A simple manual toothbrush solves all of this. It's small, it's lightweight, and always works. I even brought one here to show you, like you wouldn't have never seen a toothbrush in your life. Oh well. It's also very useful for camping or off-grid trips that I do sometimes where you don't necessarily have access to electricity all the time. The seventh one is an extra key for peace of mind. Getting locked out of your home is really frustrating, expensive, and it always seems to happen at the worst possible time. That's why having some spare keys makes life so much easier. You can give it to someone you trust or maybe hide it in a not so obvious place so that there's always a way back in. For me, my mom who lives nearby has a copy of our key and we have hers, and it has saved us more than once. And I also think that this system is important because if there's an emergency and you are, for example, not able to open the door, someone can still have the access and get to you. These days I also keep a separate key just for running, so I don't have to carry my full set of keys for my workouts. I'm not really sure what the rules or laws are for making extra keys in rental apartments in other countries, but at least we got very lucky because there were multiple spare keys when we moved in here. Number 8, cash in your wallet. This isn't even technically an expense, but having just 10 or 20 bucks in cash can save you from a lot of trouble. When your card gets randomly declined or the ATM isn't working or the payment network in general is down, if you don't have any cash, there might not be any way for you to pay, for example, for your groceries. And I've heard that some people even keep extra cash hidden inside their phone case. I think that that is a pretty smart move if you lose your wallet. It's something you will probably never need, but if you ever do, you'll be really glad you had it. 9. A glass for proper hydration. We have all kinds of glasses at home, but I've noticed that I basically only use the bigger ones. And the reason for that is simple. The bigger the glass, the more water I drink. If it's small, I drink less without even realizing it. A larger glass removes the effort of constantly needing to stand up to refill, which is great if you are, for example, watching a movie or working or reading. I know that it's a very good thing to change position and stand up every now and then, but when you are very focused on something, you are in the flow, it's so easy to forget to drink. This is such a small thing again, but I think that it will make a huge impact on my health in the long run. The 10th one is a wool comb. I love wearing sweaters all the time, as you may know. The only problem with them is that after a while, they start to look a bit worn out from pilling, even if they are still in great condition. The fabric pills don't really affect how the sweater feels, but they make it look old and messy. And hand picking them away one by one takes forever, so that's why I started to use this wool comb. It removes those little fabric pills effortlessly, making all these sweaters and scarves and even coats that I have look fresh again. But what I really love about it is that it also encourages you to maintain and appreciate what you already own instead of replacing it. So very well fitting the minimalist mindset that I have. These days it's so easy to just throw away clothes at the first sign of wear. I think fast fashion has made it so normal to treat clothes as disposable, but most of the time they don't need to be replaced every season. They just need a little bit more care. The 11th one is copies of important documents. Losing your ID, passport, or other important documents can be a nightmare, especially abroad where authorities or officials cannot just look you up in their system. Without a copy of these, proving who you actually are can take a lot more time and effort. So having printed physical copies or at least scanned versions stored digitally somewhere safe can save you from so much trouble. If something happens, you still have access to the most important information, so basically proving who you are, even if your wallet or bag is gone. And this could even be free if you already own a printer or scanner, so it takes almost no effort, but it's one of those small precautions that can make a huge difference when you least expect it. Number 12, massage balls. If you have tight muscles, stiffness or soreness, this is one of the easiest and cheapest ways to get relief. It's great for recovery after workouts or long days of sitting, and I used to have way more pain before I started using these regularly, especially in my back, glutes and hips. I also have a foam roller, but massage balls are just so much easier to use like wherever you are. I don't have specific brands to recommend you, but if you get one, just make sure that it is harder than a tennis ball to get the best benefits. The softer ones don't work as well, at least for me. 13, a hanger for every shirt. Having enough clothes hangers for all my shirts makes choosing clothes so much easier. Everything is visible, accessible and ready to wear. There's no digging through drawers or dealing with piles of clothes. It might take up a bit more space, but as a minimalist, I think that it is totally worth it. And one very interesting thing that I have noticed is that having the right number of hangers actually prevents me from buying more clothes that I wouldn't necessarily even need. If I run out of hangers, it's a clear sign that something needs to go before adding more. So I guess we could say that this is a minimalist hack that also helps you with the one in, one out rule. Number 14, candles. Just 2 weeks ago, someone crashed a car near our building just there, and suddenly everything went dark. At first, I thought that the lights might come back in seconds, but then I realized that the whole building and the traffic lights nearby had lost power. So the car had hit this electrical box that was now in millions of pieces. And since it was a Saturday night and it was completely shattered, we knew that it would probably take some time before it was fixed, possibly even until Monday. So it was great that we had multiple candles ready. In situations like this, having even a little light can make a big difference. Flashlights and phones, of course, work too, but they can feel quite harsh. You don't want to keep them on all the time. And candles just bring a softer, more natural light that makes instantly the space feel calmer and actually can change the whole unexpected power cut situation to feel even kind of peaceful. We actually didn't even rush to light them up. We were just sitting in darkness for once because it felt like quite nice change from the usual. 15. A backup plan for your accounts. I heard this tip on a podcast last week, and the story was so important that it really stuck with me. They talked about someone who was the head of a non-profit organization and then suddenly passed away. He was the main person, so he had all the information, the accounts, email addresses and passwords in his head. And now when he was gone, no one else had access to almost anything. They really tried everything, but in the end, there was no way in to the very important things. So they had to basically start the whole project again from scratch. It made me realize how much of our lives are locked behind passwords. Our subscriptions, banking details, important documents, all these things. And if you end up in hospital or worse, and no one has access to anything, it can be really difficult for those around you. So having a secret place for your account emails and passwords is not necessarily just about convenience for you. It's a small thing that could save everyone a massive headache if something ever happened to you. I mean, if I died, wouldn't it be nice if someone I know could at least post something here so you are not just wondering why I disappeared? It's kind of a weird way to end this video, but I'll go with it. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay kind and meaningful in your own beautiful journey. See you in the next one. Ciao.